Hello everybody and welcome back to yet another Logan Blackman Show YouTube video. It's been a long time since you've seen my beautiful face, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you all are ready for an exciting, exhilarating, learned episode of the Logan Blackman Show on YouTube. And before we get into anything, let's go over the housekeeping items first. Make sure to check out all the links down in the description below, all the different social media accounts. You can check out the podcast and Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube. And also, make sure to check out the blog post, LoganBlackmanShow.com. And also, most importantly, make sure you subscribe and give this video a thumbs up if you're already enjoying it. But if you're not a trusting individual and you want to wait till the end, I completely understand that. Wait till the end. I'll remind you. And also, make sure to leave a comment down below on why you feel the way you do about this video, about the United States, about everything. Because in this video, we are doing a re-upped version. Oh, I just hit the... We are doing a re-upped version of our 2026 USMNT World Cup squad prediction. This is a video we did all the way back on July 19th, which was a year until the 2026 World Cup final, which of course the United States is going to be in. We all know that. And obviously the World Cup draw was last week. We saw the United States get put in a group with Paraguay, Australia, and the winner of Pathway C from UEFA, which we will find out the winner of that on March 31st, I believe it is. And this group would be complete with the likes of either Slovakia, Romania, Turkey, Kosovo. Like, those are the four teams that could be playing in the United States group. And then just at face value, and I don't want to sound like super, like, I don't know, biased or anything, or patriotic or something, I think there's a good pathway for the United States to come out on top in this group. And if they don't, I think we have a right to be disappointed. And a couple months ago, we would have looked at the United States men's national team and gone like, what is the direction of this team? Pochettino was struggling. They were losing games left, right, and center. They couldn't really get a style down. But within these last 5 games, the United States has played really, really well. Their most recent one coming in a 5-1 win against Uruguay. It's just, the feeling around the United States men's national team now compared to like June or July is completely different, and I'm here for it. And one thing I've liked from Pochettino in this time frame is that he's established a firm identity for what this United States men's national team is. He's set a tone for this team. What's also been nice to see is that he's adjusted the tactics. Like, if you look back to earlier in the year and seeing the United States, when Pochettino first took over, the United States is running a very rigid 4-2-3-1 formation. They don't have a lot of wingers. There's not a lot of natural wingers at the United States' disposal. Like, you're looking at Timothy Weah, you're looking at Christian Pulisic, who he's playing at the number 10. You're seeing people like Yunus Musa play out on the wing, and then you got like Weston McKennie playing out there as well. Like, there's not really a natural winger next to someone like Timothy Weah on the rest of this roster, so it was kind of frustrating to watch. Even like in the Gold Cup championship game against Mexico, Sebastian Berhalter's playing at right midfield. Like, this is a team that needed to change formations because the players they had at disposal didn't fit the formation that Pochettino was wanting to run, and he made an adjustment. So now we're seeing the United States run a 5-2-3-1 or 5-2-2-1 formation, and I'm all for it. And we were talking about this earlier in the year. Like, United States fans have been talking about the United States wanting to play a back five. And I know at face value, a back five seems like a very defensive formation, which makes sense. And it can be. It really can be. When you look at the United States fullbacks that they have, you're looking at Serginho Dest, Anthony Robinson, John Tolkien, Alex Freeman, Max Armstead. Like, you can keep going on. They're attack-minded fullbacks. These are not guys that are going to sit back and play back five and just play super rigid and park the bus the entire time. No, you're going to push the ball down the field. Even Timothy Weah, who's been playing right wing back for Juventus and Marseille this season, like, this is a team that can bomb down those pitches, and those are your natural wingers of the team, with a back three that's very fluid as well, which we've seen some chopping and changing of trying to figure out what the best guys are in that spot. Regardless, I've really liked seeing this change of formation. It's been a nice little adjustment for the United States, and they're coming out attacking. They're coming out on the front foot of games, which is something we've always wanted to see from the United States men's national team for the past however many years now, and now we're getting that. So again, like I said before, the feeling around the national team at this current stage in December, a week before Christmas, is completely different than what it was when the Gold Cup ended, when we saw them lose to Mexico. Like, it's just crazy how things can change over time, and the perception of Pochettino has changed over time as well, and I'm really excited. And regardless of how the United States was playing, I was going to be excited for the World Cup, as I imagine all of you would be. Like, you want to see your team perform well and win and stuff, and might not have been the best feeling in the world at that point, but you're going to be excited to watch your nation play in the World Cup, and this World Cup draw made it like it's real. Like, it's finally here. We are less than a year away from the World Cup final. And this video is coming out on December 19th. Like I said before, the final's on July 19th, 2026. So we are December, January, February, March, April, May. June, May, June, July. We're 7 months away from the 2026 World Cup final, which again, the United States, could we see them in the final? I mean, I'm not crazier things have happened, right? We can dream, right? And this squad, I do think, given the facet that the United States has right now and the idea and the ideals that this team has put into place right now with the formation that they have, I do think can make a decent run. Like we talked about this when Berhalter got fired, when they were in the mediation period between Berhalter and Pochettino, that the United States, like in the Copa America or even in the World Cup in 2022, was a team that rallied around each other and could be the underdog, that was punching up, that wasn't afraid to throw the first punch, and they were going to set the tone for the rest of the game. But we hadn't really seen that from the United States men's national team over the past however many years now. It was more like, we're just okay. We made it to the knockout stage. We're just okay with that. But I think, again, this is a team that could go further, and it's on home soil, so you got the home soil plot armor. I mean, we saw Russia go really far in the 2018 World Cup. Like, this is something we could see. The plot armor's there. The plot armor's there. So we'll have to wait and see on that. But for this squad, again, 26 players in the squad. We'll start off with the goalkeeper, obviously. The first one on here is Matt Freese. I think at this point in time, like when we did the video back in July, there was kind of a idea that Matt Freese had played well in the Gold Cup. There was no denying that. Matt Freese played well in the Gold Cup, and he was brought in as a replacement because of the likes of Zach Steffen and Patrick Schulte going out due to injury. So it was kind of like, okay, well, I guess we're going to start Matt Freese here. And though he played well, there wasn't a moment in time where you could really look at it and go like, oh, he was tested, that we know he's the number one guy, barring the penalty shootout, which he was fantastic because penalties are his shit. But now, Pochettino putting in Turner with squads with Matt Freese, and Matt Freese still starting, it's clear at this point in time anyways that Matt Freese is Pochettino's number one, and I can't be mad at that at all. And I think Matt Turner is still going to go to the squad. I think he's pretty much locked in as that number two option for the United States, and it's something that's kind of been coming over the past couple years now. I mean, we talked about Matt Turner's performances for Nottingham Forest. We talked about some of his performances with the United States in the Copa America. It was coming that they needed a replacement, but they didn't have anybody to take the job from him. Like, it's one thing to be bad, but you need someone to come in and rip that job away from you, which is something the United States didn't have until Matt Freese came and took it, because that's what happened with Zach Steffen. Zach Steffen was constantly hurt. Turner came in and took the job from him. Like, you have to have someone come in and take it. And Matt Freese, I think at this point in time, we can definitively say he took the job away from Matt Turner. But again, I still think Turner will be a part of the squad. And as for that number three goalkeeper, we can go a couple different directions here. Like, Jonathan Klinsmann was in the last squad. Celentano from FC Cincinnati was in the squad as well. Steffen hasn't been a part of the squad. I think when we get to March, which is the next run of U.S. fixtures, I think I saw it be 14 months since the last time that Zach Steffen was a part of a squad, and a lot of that's due to injuries. And there's moments where you could look at for Zach Steffen's, like, if it weren't for injuries, that he might be the number one goalie for the United States. Because remember, if it weren't for an illness, he would have started against Canada in the CONCACAF Nations League third place game. And there's a couple moments in there as well that Zach Steffen could have looked at and gone like, this is his chance to get that number one jersey back. And it's kind of just gone past him. So I don't know if Zach Steffen's back in that running. I think Patrick Schulte, though, I think at this point would be the third option for the United States. Diego Costa from Barcelona, obviously, is another player we could talk about in there from the goalie perspective, and Chris Brady from the Chicago Fire is another one. But I think we're really looking at Celentano, Klinsmann, and Patrick Schulte for this third place spot for the goalkeepers. So the goalkeepers right now, as I see it at this point, as we sit 7 months away from the 2026 World Cup final, is Matt Freese number one, Turner number two, and Patrick Schulte at number three. And as we've talked about before, the United States is going to be playing a back five or a 3-4-2-1, however you want to view it. So I guess you could really look at the United States formation and go like, oh, they are playing more of a 3-4-2-1 formation as opposed to a back five that's ultra defensive and sitting back. And at the right wing back spot, and I'm going to go with the starters first, and then we will go with the reserves, because I do think that at this point I have a general grasp of what the United States starting lineup will look like. So we're going to go with the lineup first, and then I'll go with the backup players in there. Hopefully I don't get confused and forget players like that. But at right wing back, Sergiño Dest. Sergiño Dest is the greatest right back in United States men's national team history. I know there's going to be shouts for Steve Cherundolo. There's going to be probably some love for Fabian Johnson as well, who was one of my favorite players back in the Klinsmann era. But Sergiño Dest is one of the best attacking fullbacks that the United States has ever had. And given the formation the United States is running, he provides so much width going up and down the field. And when he first broke in to the United States men's national team, when they poached him away from the Netherlands, he was a guy that you looked at and go, oh yeah, he wants to push up the field. Remember, they were playing at left wing back for a few games. He scored that screamer against Jamaica in that friendly. Like, he's a guy who's not afraid to push up and down the field. And what we've seen from PSV this season, because we know you're going to get that attacking outlet for him, and you know you're going to get that fire from him as well. He's got 4 yellow cards to his name this season, what I think is the joint most for PSV, but he's also improving as a defender. He can track back. He's not like the greatest one-on-one defender, but he's not afraid to stick in and go in for a challenge. I think he's third on the team in tackles or something like that this year as well, which I think is a big plus for him, but there was no real conversation about him starting in that spot, but I think as a backup for him, and I know I said this earlier, but it makes more sense in my brain to go with position, starter, backup, and then going from starter, backup, because I feel like I'm going to forget somebody there. But no, hey, what do I want to do? As right wing back, as his backup there, I'm going to go with Timothy Weah. Timothy Weah has been an ever-present starter for the United States along that right midfield spot for the past however many years now. In Pochettino, we've seen him play on that left wing as well, but we've seen him play as a right wing back. We talked about with Marseille, and he's done that for Juventus as well, and we've seen Pochettino play in there. We've seen him play Alex Freeman at left wing back as well. Timothy Weah is a guy who, again, will push down the field. He's the only real natural winger that the United States has at their disposal in regards to who's competing for jobs in this national team. Because I know you could go like Alejandro Zendejas in there as well, but Timothy Weah is if you're thinking of a winger for the national team, a direct winger that wants to hug the touchline, that wants to get up the field, that's Timothy Weah. Does he have the greatest goal-scoring output? Not necessarily, but we saw him score a goal in the Champions League for Marseille this season. I think that battle between him and Serginho Dest at right wing back could be interesting, but Dest is, again, like I said already, the greatest right back the United States has ever had. Again, you can have your arguments with Steve Trundle and Fabian Johnson, all those guys, but Serginho Dest is that guy, and I think now that he's back and within the round, the national team squad, he's now cemented a spot once again at that spot. Now for left wing back, this one's a very interesting one. I'm going to start off with one guy in particular first, and that's Max Arfsten. Max Arfsten is in conversation, or he's one of the finalists for United States Men's National Team Player of the Year, which I think, given his performances for the national team when they've switched to this formation, have been very impressive. We saw some good performances again in the Gold Cup, but one thing we've talked about constantly from Max Arfsten, dating all the way back to the early Pochettino era, is that Max Arfsten is a very limited defender. I think the word we used was a optional defender. I think that was the word we used, an optional defender. He is really good going forward. I mean, 5 goals and 6 assists for Columbus Crew this past season. I think he was second on the team in goals and assists this year, but his ability to track back wasn't always there. So when they were playing a back 4, he just left his center back out to dry completely. So the switch to the back 3, I think, fits his mold perfectly. I think this is exactly the kind of formation that Max Arfsten wants to play, which is, again, what we've seen from him with the Columbus Crew. And he did get better in regards. I think he was third on the team in tackles as well, like we talked about with Dest before. But going forward, he's one of the best creators the United States has from these wide spots. I believe he was also first in the team in chances and big chances created for Columbus Crew as well. Like, he's going to push the issue down that left side. And I think he's a guy that we're pretty much comfortable saying is a lock going to the World Cup. Now, this last spot, I think is very interesting because there's an interesting conversation to have here. Anthony Robinson is far and away the best left back the United States has. It's not even close. I mean, this is a guy that had 10 assists in the Premier League last season. The problem is he's been battling a knee injury all season. He had knee surgery in the summer, and he's been battling setbacks from that all season long. He has had to withdraw from squads due to injury setbacks to make sure he's good to go. If he's healthy, he is going to be the starter for the United States. Again, he is the best left back the United States has. And you can have that conversation about best left back ever, and you could probably have a better conversation about that than with Serginho Dest there. But the problem is he just isn't healthy. And I don't know if this is going to be something that Pochettino looks at and goes, oh, we're not going to bring you because we can't count on your availability. And as the old saying goes, the best ability is availability. And Anthony Robinson is never available, seemingly. And he's so great when he's available. But that question mark, if I put him in the squad, he would be starting. And I think he is a starter if he goes in there. But one thing Pochettino has said numerous times is that nothing is guaranteed in and around this national team squad. Your spot is not guaranteed. I don't care what you did in the past. What are you doing for me right now? So I think that could be very interesting for Anthony Robinson come the 2026 World Cup and when that squad selection comes out. So John Tolkien is a guy who I think, again, could be in and around that conversation if he doesn't feel Anthony Robinson is fit enough to go to the World Cup, which that's going to be a real conversation to have. And Tolkien has been playing well for Holstein Kiel in Germany. He's got 1 goal and 2 assists to his name this year. He plays in the back 5. He played really well for the United States in these last couple friendlies. Like, John Tolkien is not Anthony Robinson, sorry. He's also not Miles Robinson, but he's not Anthony Robinson. And if we're looking at a perfect world, the fullbacks for the United States in regards to the left back spot would be Anthony Robinson and Max Arfsten. But again, I got to keep harping on this because I think it's a very big factor to play in for Anthony Robinson and his future with the national team, especially for 2026. If he's good to go and gets a run of games going, he will be there and he will be starting. If he doesn't find consistent play and if he can't stay healthy, then I would not be shocked at all if John Tolkien is on that plane instead of Anthony Robinson. Are they the same? Are they the same levels of player? Not in the slightest. The best ability is availability. So I'm intrigued to see how Pochettino juggles that. I will say that at this point in time, given what Pochettino has alluded to, if I had to make a prediction right now, I would say it's Max Arfsten and John Tolkien at that left wing back spot. And if you're looking at the center backs, I would love to have Noah Kai Banks here. Noah Kai Banks has been playing really well for Augsburg. He's playing full 90s. I think he started 9 games this season. 19 years old, plays in the back 3. Has played on both the left and the right throughout his time there, but we just haven't really seen him get a run in games. And maybe that can change come the new year and coming the friendlies that are up in March. Maybe we see Pochettino bring him into that squad, because I speak for a lot of people out there that think he's so talented and deserves a spot at least on the roster. But if you're looking at the starting lineup for those 3 center backs, I think that right center back spot is Alex Freeman's at this point in time. Alex Freeman is a guy that Pochettino has not been afraid to push around a little bit in regards to, we talked about him playing right wing back. We've talked about him playing left wing back. He's played right center back. In the last game against Uruguay, he scored 2 goals playing from right center back. And when you looked at the back 4 that the United States was running in the Gold Cup, it was Arfsten who was allowed to push forward and Freeman was staying back a little bit more. Freeman's a great athlete, and son of Antonio Freeman from the NFL, from the Green Bay Packers, 6'2". Like, he's what you would love to see from a right center back spot. I think at this point in time, it's his spot to lose. And I don't know if that's a crazy thing. He's another guy that we've talked about before as a finalist for the United States Men's National Team Player of the Year, which I think is deserved given some of his performances here. And I think Pochettino trusts him. I think the athleticism that he possesses is going to bode well for him in the starting lineup. So I'm going to stick him at right center back. Center back, let's not overthink this. It's Chris Richards, one of the front runners for captain, another finalist for United States Men's National Team Player of the Year. He's the best center back the United States has. There's really not a lot else to talk about with Chris Richards. He plays in the back 3 at club level for Crystal Palace. Won the FA Cup this past year. Chris Richards he's just good. He's just good. And the performance that we saw in the Gold Cup were really, really good as well. Again, one of the front runners for captain. I don't know who it's going to be at this point in time, but Chris Richards, guaranteed starter at this point. And then left center back, I don't think a lot of people would have expected him to be here during the 2022 World Cup. They thought he would have aged out, but Pochettino trusts him, and Tim Ream is going to be that 3rd starting center back for the United States in this back 3. Old dude, 38, 39 years old, but we talk about players Pochettino trusts and who the managers trust. Those are the guys they're going to lean to. Would we love to see Noah Kai Banks over someone like Tim Ream? Yeah. I mean, that's no disrespect to Tim Ream, but with a guy as exciting and as hot of a prospect as Noah Kai Banks is, you want to see him getting those chances. And there's other players you can mention in there as well. But Tim Ream is, at this point in time, I would lock him in as one of the starters. I would say that back line is locked in, barring Arfsten, because you don't know if Anthony Robinson's going to play. In regards to the backup center backs that the United States has at this point in time, I'm going to have one being Mark McKenzie. Again, I think that one kind of speaks for himself. We're talking about players Mauricio Pochettino trusts. He's a guy that constantly is in and around the United States Men's National Team squad, plays in the back 3 as well at club, which I think is big. But if you're changing formations, you're going to get players that suit the system that you're going to play, and Mark McKenzie does that. Do I trust him fully? Not necessarily. There are times I think he's a little scary, a little wasteful, which is, you're going to get that from time to time, but he's not the starter. If he was the starter, I'd be a little bit more scared, but this is no dig at Mark McKenzie. I think he's a very talented center back, but he's one of the guys you could look at there. Another one here, which I think is a very interesting one to think about, is Joe Scally. Joe Scally is a guy who we have seen Pochettino, we talk about the back 4. We've seen him talk about playing Joe Scally at left back, at right back, trying to be that attacking option down the wings. He's just not that. But we've seen him as a center back for the United States in these back threes, and has been comfortable. And he plays in the back five for club level for Borussia Mönchengladbach. He plays as a right wing back, but he's also played at center back as well. But Joe Scally has had his frustrating moments with the United States under Mitchell Pochettino, but I think that versatility that he provides, that he can also play at right wing back, he can also play at center back, he'd also play at left wing back if we need him to. I think that will get him a spot on the plane. And the final center back here is Miles Robinson. We kind of brought him up before when talking about Anthony Robinson, but Miles Robinson's a guy that, again, Mitchell Pochettino will turn to as a backup center back. He's a guy who will play all across the back line. He's played him at right back before, which is not obviously his natural position, but at FC Cincinnati, playing in a back three, again, talk about that familiarity with the system. Playing in that back three, I think, is massive there. And Miles Robinson is a guy that frustrates a lot of people out there, but Pochettino seems to trust him. And speaking of trust, you could also look at guys like Austin Trusty. You could look at a guy like Walker Zimmerman. Cameron Carter-Vickers will be out due to the injury, so speedy recovery for him. There's also Blackman in there as well. There's a few other players you could really look at for the United States in this, but the big one's obviously going to be Noah Kai Banks. But at this point in time, I think the center backs for this back three, the stars I think will be Alex Freeman at right center back, Chris Richards at center back, and Tim Ream at left center back with Joe Scally, Mark McKenzie, and Miles Robinson all serving as backup options in there as well. In regards to the midfield, obviously, again, he runs a two-man midfield, and I think the two starters at this point in time, again, we talk about staying healthy. Tyler Adams is one of them. Tyler Adams cannot stay healthy at all. But when he is healthy, he's one of the best players the United States has at their disposal. He's one of the best players for Bournemouth when he's healthy. But against Manchester United this past game, he was out after 5 minutes. Like I don't want to hurt him, be down on him too much because I love Tyler Adams. He was the captain of the 2022 World Cup, but he's made of glass. Like, if you look at him too long, he's going to get hurt. And I don't like saying that because, again, I really like him. But if Adams is healthy, Adams starts. And I think Tanner Tessman is another guy that will be the starter next to Tyler Adams in this midfield. And you could go to really defensive-minded midfield, and yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Neither one of those guys are necessarily the most creative outlets out there, but Tanner Tessman's another guy that Pochettino just seems to trust. And he didn't have the greatest Nations League final appearances as well, but he's playing consistently for Lyon. He's playing in a back three. Again, sometimes you just need to turn to players that they trust in these kind of situations. And I think Tanner Tessman, who's been playing well, I do think he's going to be that other center midfield spot next to Tyler Adams. Again, if Adams is healthy. Jeez, I keep hitting the cord. But if you're looking at the backup options for Adams and Tanner Tessman, the first one on here is Sebastian Berhalter. I think that one's fairly straightforward. There's nobody even close to the set piece deliveries that he possesses. He runs all over the pitch. He was a massive part of the Vancouver Whitecaps making it all the way to the MLS Cup final. Obviously, they lost 3-1 to Inter Miami, but he was a massive part in that. And he just tries. I think that's the biggest thing. One thing Pochettino stresses and harps on more than anything is effort and trying. And he's that kind of guy. Sometimes does it work out all the time? No, not all the time. But you want to see that effort there. And again, the set pieces, whether it's corners, free kicks, anything, he's the best at that spot by far, and I think that will warrant him a spot on the plane. And the last one here, this one I did not see coming. If you would have said this a few months ago, I would not have predicted this, but he never seems to die off. It's Christian Roldan. Christian Roldan is always going to be in and around the United States men's national team. It does not matter. And you know what? We talk about players people trust or managers trust. Christian Roldan is the epitome of a guy managers will trust. That he's just the epitome of that. He never puts a foot wrong. Does he do anything spectacular? No. But if you look at past performance for the United States, they're comfortable bringing him off the bench to see out a game. He tries so damn hard. He puts in so much effort, and he's played great for the United States in these past two friendly matches. Scored 2 goals in one of the games as well. He's going to be on the plane at this point in time. And there's going to be some people that are not happy about that, but Pochettino trusts guys like Christian Roldan. And I got to find the quote that Pochettino had around Christian Roldan real quick. So about Christian Roldan, he said, he is what we need. We need a player with confidence, with self-belief, and a little bit of arrogance, with a little bit, the being naughty, being competitive. And maybe Christian Roldan is an example of how if you want to build the perfect player, he has a little bit of everything. I don't say that he's going to be on our next roster or is going to the World Cup, but I think at the moment, or so far, after last camp and now, it's a player that we wanted to give an opportunity. We gave the opportunity, and look what is going on. It's the thing that, again, they trust him. People look at Christian Roldan and trust him, and I can't blame them. And it's going to be sad for Johnny Cardoso, who's a guy that is playing for Atletico Madrid. If you would have told anybody 5 years ago, or maybe even less than that, a year ago, that the United States they were coming up to the World Cup, and they were bringing somebody from the Seattle Sounders and Vancouver Whitecaps over somebody from Atletico Madrid, I think they would look at you kind of crazy. But the thing is, again, Johnny Cardoso not only has not stayed healthy or been able to stay healthy and not getting consistent minutes with Atletico Madrid. Again, a lot of that has to do with injuries, but I think he has like 70 or 80 minutes so far this season played for Atletico Madrid in the league. But the other thing is, in his recent appearances for the United States men's national team, he just hasn't been that guy that we all look to and go like, oh, this is the cover for Tyler Adams at this position. I just don't feel confident that he's going to be in near the squad. And given Roldan's performances, given the comments that Pochettino has had around Christian Roldan, I think that opens the door for him to take that spot from Cardoso, even if Cardoso ever had the spot to begin with. Again, the best ability is availability. He's just not available. And you can also look at guys like Yunus Musa, who's another guy who was around the squad. He was an ever-present starter for the United States around the 2022 World Cup, and now he's not near the squad. And given some of the spots that the United States has had with some of the players, and Yunus Musa is a guy that you can look to and can play a multitude of different positions. Whether he plays a 6, 8, can play on the wing, can play right back if needed. Like, he can do a lot of different things for you, but he's kind of that jack of all trades, master of none type thing. Got shipped out of AC Milan and has struggled to find consistent footing this past season. So I love Yunus Musa. I think he's a very good player, has done a lot of very good things for the United States men's national team, but I have a hard time believing that he's going to be in and around the squad come the 2026 World Cup. I could be wrong. Maybe he gets flipped in the form or something, but I have a hard time believing at this point in time that he's going to be in and around there. And if we're looking at the front three or the two attacking midfielders behind the striker, on the right side for the starter, I'm going to go with Weston McKennie. Weston McKennie is a guy who was, putting it lightly, or being frank here, he was a guy everybody just called fat. Everybody just called him the Pillsbury Doughboy. Remember that game, I think it was against Mexico in the Nations League, where he had his tucked-in shirt and his belly was all hanging out? And the one person that everybody said to look out for with Pochettino was Weston McKennie, because Pochettino's a team that is a guy who wants to press, that is reliant on fitness, and that was something Weston McKennie hadn't had. But you look at what he's done for Juventus over the past 2 seasons now, or 3 seasons, where he's been captain for them a couple occasions. This is the greatest period for Juventus, not in the slightest, but still, captaining a club like Juventus is no small feat, regardless of who you are or what level they're at this point in time. But Weston McKennie's a guy, they're not afraid to play at right back, at right wing back. He's played great for Juventus at that spot. He's played an attacking midfield, and he's a guy that is now playing with a 3-4-2-1 formation at Juventus, who is playing at that right wing back spot, who is playing at that right attacking mid spot, and has been putting in so much effort for Juventus at those spots. He's a guy they just can't afford to drop or even sub out at any point throughout the game. Like, he's played every minute of every game since November 1st. That game, he played 85 minutes. Like, he's an ever-present in there, and I think there's going to be an interesting conversation around him at that spot and Malik Tillman, who I have behind him in the pecking order. After the Gold Cup, it was like Malik Tillman's guaranteed starter there. He's kind of cemented his spot at that spot, or at least at the attacking midfield spot, or one of the wing spots. Regardless of where it was, Malik Tillman was going to be a starter for the United States men's national team come the 2026 World Cup. Made a nice little move to Bayer Leverkusen from PSV, got given the number 10 shirt. And has Bayer Leverkusen been awesome this year? No. I mean, they fired Eric Ten Hag after, 3 games? Like, they just haven't been that amazing. But Malik Tillman's been a very solid player for them this season. Like, he has 3 goals in 9 starts this season. He's in the top 3 for chances created and big chances created. And he also leads the team in tackles per 90. So his work rate's also there as well. And like we talked about, that's a very big thing in how Mauricio Pochettino sets up his team. So regardless if you want to see the likes of Malik Tillman starting there, or if you want to see the likes of Weston McKennie starting there, I think those 2 guys, regardless, are going to be in and around the squad, and both could rotate as starters in this national team going forward. And then you look at the other spot there as well behind, we can keep going behind them. You're looking at somebody like Giovanni Reyna. And this is a guy who a few months ago we would have said is nowhere near this spot, nowhere near the United States men's national team squad. And we did this video back in July. I mentioned him as I feel bad for leaving him out, but at that point it didn't look like he had a real future in and around the National League, because if you look at the Nations League final in the 3rd place game, Diego Luna was coming on before him. And that was kind of an indictment that, Giovanni Reyna's done. It doesn't matter how talented Giovanni Reyna is. Giovanni Reyna, pound for pound, is one of the most talented players the United States has ever produced. But for whatever reason, it just hasn't seemed to fully click for him. And at Borussia Dortmund, he was slowly getting pushed out. They gave away his number 7 jersey. They gave it to Joe Bellingham. He got given number 21. He got kicked out to Borussia Mönchengladbach with Joe Scally. And he's starting to get that fitness back. He started 3 games, so far this season in 10, and all those are coming in the last 3 games. And he might not have any goals or assists, but this is a team in Borussia Mönchengladbach who are allergic to finishing chances. I mean, he's one of the top leaders in expected assists, while also the team has only scored 18 goals this season, which is one of the bottom parts of the Bundesliga. He's also one of the best dribblers at the team as well, and he's playing in this front 3 for Borussia Mönchengladbach. And the last time that we saw him play for the United States, he scored a goal, he set up a winner as well. Like, he's getting that confidence back, and if he's playing with confidence, and if he keeps getting consistent minutes, which it seems like we're going like this in regards to minutes for Giovanni Reyna, then I don't see why he can't be in and around the squad once again. I think he deserves a spot given how he's been playing recently, his recent performance in the United States as well, and he keeps building on that. He's going to be in the squad. And if we're looking at the left attacking midfield spot, Christian Pulisic is obviously one. He's the first name on the tee sheet. He's arguably the most informed player the United States has ever had in the world right now. I mean, you look at what he's doing for AC Milan, 7 goals this season, playing as a striker. I mean, AC Milan plays a 4-5-2 formation, and Pulisic's playing as that left striker spot, and 7 goals. Some of those have come off the bench as well. He's just been a very lively player for an AC Milan team that are near the top of the table in Serie A. He also scores over a goal per 90, 1.22 goals per 90, which is insanely impressive. He leads AC Milan in goals and assists. He's just been playing really, really well. And shots per 90 as well, he's also up there as well. He's the best player the United States has. And I know he rubs some people the wrong way with his attitude, but he's the best player the United States has. And again, is the first team on the team sheet. And again, a guy that we're having conversation around being captain for this team. And then behind him, we're looking at Diego Luna. Everybody loves Diego Luna. From the underdog story, from where he was at the 2022 World Cup to now, it's one of the best stories in soccer in regards to the United States, in regards to CONCACAF. I don't want to go like around the world or anything, but we could say that. If we want to make an argument, we could do that for him, but he's far and away Real Salt Lake's best player. Like, it's not even really a conversation there. Like, he leads them in goals with 9. He leads them in goals and assists with 13. And the thing is, like we've talked about 100 times before in this video, with Mauricio Pochettino, he values effort and work rate and trying things, and that's everything Diego Luna is. Is he the flashiest or sexiest player out there? No. But he's a guy you root for. He's a guy you look to and say, hey, he's given everything he can for the badge on his chest, and that's what we want to see more of with the United States men's national team. So he's a guaranteed guy in the squad as well. And the final spot for these attacking midfield spots is Brendan Aronson, who, it always throws me off. I don't know why, but it throws me off so much when I see how many times he's played for the United States men's national team. I don't know why, because like all of those performances have been off the bench for them. I shouldn't say all of them, but most of them feel like they've all been off the bench. But he's a guy who's one of the better players for a bad Leeds United team. He has 1 goal and 2 assists to his name so far this season. But he's third on the team in big chances created, but he's also third on the team in tackles per 90 as well. So he's a guy, again, that works hard, can play on the wing, can play as a number 10, and I think in this system, I think will work well for the United States, and it provides that spark off the bench that we've seen throughout his entire United States men's national team career, bringing that spark in, adding a little effort in there, and I think he's a guy that, again, we could see in and around that squad. And we're going to the strikers. This was a deep conversation like a few months ago, maybe a year ago even, but right now I can't speak for everybody. This was one of the easiest spots that I had to come across, and again, I can't speak for everybody, but you're looking at Balogun, Haji Wright, and Ricardo Pepi. I don't know if it's that simple. Josh Sargent is a guy, because he's the guy that a lot of people are going to point to. Josh Sargent he's been in a little bit of a cold funk right now for Norwich City. Like, he has 1 goal since August 30th, and that came back on December 6th, but he has 6 goals to his name this season. Is one of the better strikers in the championship, or at least he was at the start of the year, but as we talked about 100 times before, when it comes to Josh Sargent, he just can't score for the national team. I don't know what it is. I mean, 2019 was the last time he scored for the national team, and it keeps weighing down. Prior to the season, or beginning of the season, you'd have gone like, even though he's scoring goals, I have a hard time envisioning him in the United States men's national team, given some of the decisions Pochettino's made, even like Patrick Agyemang, who's been playing really well, honestly, recently for Derby County in the championship as well. 5 goals, 3 assists. He scored 2 goals in their last game, I believe, against Sheffield Wednesday. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if Patrick Agyemang was back and around the squad, but the best strikers the United States have, again, pretty unanimously are Balogun, Wright, and Pepi. And if you look at the resumes that these guys have been building recently, Pepi scored in 4 straight games for PSV. Haji Wright has scored 8 goals for the highest scoring team in the championship by an insanely wide margin as well. He's been on a little bit of a cold streak in regards to scoring goals, but scored 2 goals in the last fixtures for the United States as well. And Balogun he's the first American I think I saw to score in 3 straight Champions League matches. I believe that was something I saw there, but these guys are all just comfortably the 3 best strikers that the United States has. And Haji Wright can also play off the striker a little bit as well. He's played on the left wing for Coventry. He's played on the left wing for the United States as well, which is a position is also not just with Berhalter, but we've seen him with Pochettino for spare spots as well. But these 3 guys, I think, are comfortably the top 3 guys, and I think that we're having a conversation between Balogun and Wright for who's going to be the main starter there, because they both offer things a little bit different. They're very good. They're very good, and I think this United States team, again, it's not going to be a team that, I'm going to say it, that I don't know if they're going to win the World Cup, but this is a team that is definitely good enough to win the group and also make a little bit of a run in the knockout stage as well. And it also helps host nation plot armor, I think, is a big thing as well. But a recap of the squad, you're looking at Matt Freese at the number 1. Or we're going to go with the starting. Now we'll just go with the position by position. So you got Matt Freese, Matt Turner, Patrick Schulte. Right wing back, we're looking at Serginho Dest and Timothy Weah. Left wing back, we're looking at Max Arfston and John Tolkien. All depends if Anthony Robinson's freaking healthy. That's what it depends on. I hope he is, because he's freaking awesome. And center backs, we're looking at Alex Freeman, Chris Richards, Tim Ream. And behind them, we're looking at Joe Scally. Mark McKenzie and Miles Robinson. Central midfield, we're looking at stars Tyler Adams, if he stays healthy, and Tanner Tessman, with Christian Roldan and Sebastian Berhalter backing them up. Attacking midfield spot at the right side, we got Weston McKennie, Malik Tillman, and Giovanni Reina. On the left, Pulisic, Diego Luna, and Brendan Aronson as the striker spots, Balogun, Haji Wright, and Ricardo Pepi. Again, I think this is a squad that is good enough to get the United States further than what they did in 2022. I think this is the best. I gotta catch myself. This is a good squad, and I think that the direction the United States is going at this point in time, with the mentality that Pochettino's inputting and the effort they're showing, and the formation is really good as well. I just think this is a good team, and I'm excited to see what they do in the friendlies that are coming up again in March. But we'll have to wait and see on those. And yeah, that's all I've got for you today. I do hope you enjoyed it. I hope you enjoyed seeing my face again. We're going to have more quarterback prospect rankings coming out after bowl season as well, so make sure to stay tuned for that. We're also going to have a mock draft coming up rather soon. It would have made more sense, chronologically, to do the mock draft after the season was over, but or at least the regular season. But the World Cup final being on July 19th and this video coming out on December 19th just made a lot of sense in my head. So I'm sorry if that doesn't make a lot of sense for you, but it made sense for me. But again, make sure to check out all the links down in the description below. Make sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel. Give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. If you did not, I sincerely apologize. I'll try to be better next time. Make sure to leave a comment down below on why you feel the way you do, whether you think positively, negatively, whatever, about my squad prediction, about the United States, Pochettino, whatever. Just let me know down below. And yeah, I've been Logan Blackman, and I will see you guys later. Peace.